Hello, everybody. It's Michael Jaco with Unleashing Intuition Secrets. We're going to be joined today by Lewis Herms. He's running for governor of California in the primary election scheduled for June 2nd, 2026. Coming up, he is a candidate with no party preference and has focused on issues like child trafficking and government accountability in his campaign. They just did a recent survey, and survey says that Lewis Herms is at the top of the list. The people want him. They're going to get him, I think, and we're going to have him come on. We're going to talk about it. All right. So, Lewis, good to have you back on, man.
How are you, sir?
Very good. Very good. Good to see you again.
Nice to be here. Really nice to be here.
Yeah. So how's the campaign going?
It's good, man. There's just a lot going on. I was in San Luis Obispo yesterday and traveling all up and down the state. Probably this next week, I'm going to primarily take off until the weekend. And when I say take off, it means most of my work will be doing at home and doing some things in Southern California, but then back on the campaign trail again. It's The suppression is amazing, which we knew, but it's just like it's like a mammoth on our shoulders, constantly we're chipping away at. It's just absolutely incredible. But people are figuring it out. So there was a poll that was done in Northern California where they polled 5,000 people, and we were polled from policy positions at the top.
Nice.
So it's interesting when people can actually talk policies and not name recognition, how amazing we do. But we're crushing it. We have a bunch of debates coming up, so I think we're going to skyrocket.
Yeah, that's very good. I know on the that polling, what they did is they posted your what your key issues and campaign focus are, and people were probably like, "Holy smokes, this looks like the guy we want." Now you're a doer. You get things done, and that's not normally what happens with politics. They promise the world, and they never ever deliver. Why are you different? Now, I know you as a friend and as someone that I've worked with for over the years in different been to your events. I've been a speaker at your events. You've done amazing events. How many events have you done?
117 of my own, and then I've attended and helped with about another 60 or 70.
Good God, yeah. So you're very well versed in it. The more I see you, the more comfortable I see you're getting with speaking, and you come up with issues that are problems, and you have solutions. Like no, who ever does that? The deep state, they're like problem, reaction, solution, and then start the cycle again. Now you're coming in, and many of us have dreamed of this moment where someone comes in with solutions for problems and there's no middleman, there's no looping this back around. Tell us about that.
Well, yeah. So the first thing I do is when I see a problem, I flip the language because I think language matters a lot. So I turn it into a challenge. And if it's a challenge, it's exciting for me because then I just find what the solution is. And ages ago, I determined that most solutions are simple, and if they're complicated, they're messy on purpose, right? And this is why our political structure always says, well, we can fix it if we do A, B, C, D, E, F through Z, and LGBTQIA plus times 14. And the reason why they do that is because if they can keep it messy, then they could do all their BS that's in between it. So I literally just streamline things, say, okay, here's the solution. What's the fastest road to get there? Is this most effective for we the people? If the answer is yes, then I put it out there and we move forward. And that's the way I've used to troubleshoot through businesses. And I was highly effective using the exact same strategies. I'm not the smartest dude on the planet. In fact, but what I am is a person that understands that simplicity usually wins the day if it's authentic and you have the right mindset.
Now, another thing that you have over, I believe, all the other candidates is you have very strong intuition. So you say you're not very smart. I'm the same as you. I'm not very smart, but I tap into God source.
Mhm.
It gives me the answers. It guides me, and I know that you're very much like that and are accelerating your abilities in the intuitive realm. Tell us how you're different in that realm compared to other candidates out there.
Yeah, I think like I've had people say, and I think it's kind like I can tell the future. I can't tell the future. I'm just good at reading the tea leaves,
Yeah.
right? And then you get these downloads, and your intuition kicks in. And the key is just getting rid of all the noise that's around, right? And stop the self-talk. I'm if I'm positive on anything, it is making sure I go in saying, I'm very confident. God will give me the answer. Let's move forward. And then what it does is it gets rid of all the messiness and all the noise. So the intuition, in my opinion, for anybody can kick in a lot stronger when you have that lack of self-doubt.
Yeah. So you talked about, doing away with taxes across the board. And I know that there's incredible corruption going on in California. We've seen this in Minnesota. You and I have talked about this for years,
Hmm.
how this corruption's out there. And like you're saying, you've read the tea leaves and you've seen the problems. I say that there's probably well over $1 trillion worth of fraud that's going to be discovered in California. That will probably, unfortunately, be a drop in the bucket. But you said that early on. And how do we get rid of taxes? We don't give away 80% of what's taxed to people that are raking it in and not doing what it's intended for. Tell us how you intend to do away with the taxes.
Yeah, well, the solution is simple, but the way I got there is as you just indicated. So for several years, well, actually for decades before I was even in this
Yeah.
movement, I've been talking about the waste, the fraud, and abuse that goes on the California level. It's been so obviously. So now I have something called WARF, which is waste, abuse, redundancy, and fraud, and we just need to go after the WARF. And that will eliminate 75% to 80% of what we think we need as spending. So imagine that we get down to 25% and we're highly effective with that 25%. Bye bye property taxes. It's very simple. You don't need them anymore. You don't need income taxes after that. So the crux to fix most things in California, not all, but most things in California is simple. You get rid of the wharf. It's that easy. Now, I know people are stealing my lines now and they're saying that they're going to do this and it's all right. If we really go back to it and we time stamp things, I said it's at least 75% waste, fraud, and abuse a year ago. Nobody's on record saying that. In fact, I was called crazy. And then five years ago, I've been saying it's tremendous. Over half of the budget is probably waste, fraud, and abuse. So the record will be we told and everything's time stamped. What we're finding is that many other campaigns are just duplicating what we're already saying. I guess what they don't realize is that everything's time and date stamped. So we're going to come out and we're going to show that in the near future, and that's the difference between a leader and a follower. And I'm not a leader because I'm super awesome. I'm just a leader because I listen to God's word and I just simplify it, but I have the courage to push through whatever obstacles that we have. And then I have a phenomenal team and support system with my wife and everything else. So everything's kind of just lined up for us.
Yeah, fantastic. And you've talked about and you've done videos on child trafficking. And that's one of your campaign focuses on the child trafficking, and really no one else is out there has talked about this ever. So you're, I think, probably one of the first ones to ever do this. Tell us about what your intentions are for that.
So it's interesting you said that. So I got a lot of pushback from people that were trying to advise me at the beginning of my campaign because I wanted to go heavy against child trafficking. And I said to them, and again, this is reading the tea leaves. I said, don't worry. The narrative's going to come to us. We don't need to go to the narrative. I said things are going to come out about child trafficking, things are going to come about the Epstein files, and then we're going to be positioned as the leader in that segment. And that's exactly where we are today. So the narrative has come directly to us, and we've been talking about how this deep satanic cabal has been running things from the elite levels of pedophilia and child trafficking and all throughout the cartels because they switched their business model And that, because if you've watched Cages, that it's a business. I look at it through the eyes of the evildoers. So we know that it's a business. So their business model has gone away from drugs a decade ago. It's barely drugs. It's human and child trafficking, and it has been for a long time. But you'll have the mainstream wants to focus on the drugs because it's a diversion for what's really going on, and that's human and child trafficking. But I knew the narrative would come to us, and it has. And now, we're going to be positioned, I think, as the leader in the solutions for child trafficking. And I will say, as of next week, maybe the week after that, we're going to be positioned as the leader in how to fix election fraud inside of California also. So it's all coming together here.
Very good. Very good. And, there's a lot of politicians and crooked cops out there that don't do what they're supposed to do. They look the other way, and maybe even they're getting some payoff. I don't know, maybe. But, Chad Bianco is very corrupt. That's been pointed out. I've had a guest on that, completely obliterated him. He was saying certain things, and then we look back in time. He says, "I would never go woke." And so we go back, and he's taking a knee in front of the BLM guys, and so he said he never would do that, or never would. And so we got him on video after he's trying to browbeat everybody at an event that he would never do that, and don't dare say that he would. So this is a guy that should be, rounding up the child traffickers because California is one of the worst offenders in that realm. But his deputies, his organization has very low percentage-wise arrests and convictions and so forth. What do you see going forward for not just the political side, but also law enforcement that probably needs to be have a makeover?
Yeah, well, I say shame on any law enforcement that is actually endorsing him right now,
Hmm.
because they can take 10 minutes and find out what this dude is really about, right? And a dirty cop is a dirty cop. So we don't need that. How can you possibly make $600,000 a year, be the number one paid sheriff, but had the lowest crime solve rate of 9.2%? How exactly is that? How does that not even come together? It makes no sense whatsoever. And this is what blows me away with people even supporting this dude. And I'm not going to go and I'll let other people take Chad Bianco down. But the first month in office, I'm going to have a sheriff symposium. And the symposium is going to bring it together all 58 sheriffs. And we're going to have a sit down, and we're going to say, you have our 100% support if you're doing things constitutionally the way it's supposed to be. And if you don't, you're going to get a lot of pressure from the gubernatorial office and our team and we the people to hold you accountable, because this is time like it was back in the day. All police cars used to say protect and serve.
Yep.
They've erased that on most cars. LAPD's tried to bring it back, so we'll see what happens with that. But protect and serve means protect we the people and serve we the people. But we've gotten off basis about that. It's been about ticketing and corruption and other things going on. So our our police need to become great again. Where I know when I was a child, everybody wanted to become a policeman or a fireman, right?
Hmm.
Or a fake astronaut. So everybody wanted to do one of those things. So, but the reality is you don't have children talking about becoming policemen and firemen anymore,
No.
right? And it's sad, and it's because they've been brown shirted. They've been put together by Nazi acting uh, elites to do their dirty work instead of what they really need to do. And I've talked to a lot of officers, and I can tell you many of the rank and file are just amazing people, and they got into it for the right reason.
Absolutely.
But they're handcuffed in essence, no pun intended. They're handcuffed and they can't do the job that they want to do because their upper echelon is having them do the dirty work all the time. And they're very disenfranchised. So very similar to a lot of our military that goes overseas, right? They do the job and then they come back. They're like, this is not the America that I thought we were.
Yeah,
So
that's definitely the way I felt. I felt that we've been basically infiltrated by evil forces that I was, my whole life I was, focused in preventing from ever coming to America, and now we have them within us. Now, you've talked about government accountability, and you're going to do financial transparency right when you get in. You're going to start to have groups get together and find out where the fraud is and the corruption and so forth. I can tell you, when I was overseas in all these different countries, the countries that had the most fraud were the ones that were like complete crap holes, right? And California has turned into that, unfortunately, in a lot of different ways. Still, will always be a beautiful state. You can look out my window here, and across the water there, because I'm on the Nevada side, is California. It's still beautiful here, but within a lot of the cities, it is deteriorating very rapidly. It's very sad to see. What are your thoughts on accountability and cleaning up, and what's going to happen with that?
Yeah, so we're going to do a lot of things in regards to transparency. One is we're going to take the full budget and put it online, itemized for everybody to see anytime they want to, and comment. Now, there's already software out there that can do. There's accounting software out there. We just have to make it live. So we're just going to make it live so they can watch it. Can you imagine that if that we make that available, when we make that available, there'll be tens of thousands of people doing an audit on California's budget live.
Yeah.
We're not going to have to pay anybody when that happens, because they're going to go and they go, Lewis, you just spent $1,300 on those curtains. We found the same curtains on Amazon for $115. What's going on? Oh, sorry, guys, we screwed up. Okay, we're going to fix that. Can you imagine that? That's because we, the people, should be running California, not California running we, the people. And it's been everything's been turned upside down. So nobody's proposing to put the whole audit on there. Now, full transparency, there's probably somewhere between 6, 8, 9% that is secret, because there are secret things that you have to maintain. That will not be part of the audit, but the bulk of it, over 90%, should be. And I just imagine having 90% of everything that's itemized and spent in California that is scrutinized by we the people. That's going to hold us accountability into that alone.
Hmm.
And then when we have legislatures and judges and police officers misbehaving, we have a website called exposure.ca.gov that we're going to put their name, their face, their information on there, and let the people take care of them while they're under investigation.
Outstanding. Now, and once you start to free all that up, you do the accountability accounting, and you're freeing up money. You can start to put it into areas where it's deservedly going to go, like maybe better crops and so forth. The farmers and that are going to get the better crops. I saw you in a show we were talking about that. That's something we can discuss in a moment. But uh, we have both said that uh, Governor Newsom is probably, and I believe he is, the most corrupt governor in the United States right now by far,
Mhm.
on many different levels. And he just popped up on the Jeffrey Epstein list. Not, I mean, surprise, no. Uh, in what regard is he on that list? It remains to be seen. But I saw that he is on that list. Now, as far as like, people, a lot of us have been saying these people need to be arrested, but really, you have to have an extremely strong case, witnesses, and lots of information to go along with that. Otherwise, you're gonna lose your case and probably get fined, get sued, and whoever's pushing the case, loses their license to be a lawyer, or whatever. So it's really, really a hard thing right now. That I know a lot of people want to see arrest, but it's a very tough situation. I think like what you're doing is, put these people on the public notice so people can see them. I think this is the thing in the future that's really going to destroy these people more than anything else.
Yeah, I do too. I think it's a faster way to handle it too, because there's
Mhm.
no appetite for this behavior. There was before, because people didn't understand. Now I think people are starting to get a clue on what's really going on. So when you can expose these people publicly and their evil deeds, the
Mhm.
people are going to take care of them. They're going to get them out of office. They're not going to be able to walk the streets. So they're going to have to live in their homes by themselves and order Grubhub. That's pretty much they're going to be their lifestyle, until they can go through a court system or a military tribunal, which I do believe a lot of these will go through military tribunals for a couple reasons. One is because there were executive orders signed to this fact that apply with inside the construct of human trafficking, that is the crimes against humanity. So if they can go to tribunals, and many tribunals, if my research is correct, they can try a whole bunch of them together at the same time. So it streamlines things a lot better, but they'll probably have to do that offshore, which I think they're already doing in some cases. But that's my tinfoil hat wearing side. From a pragmatic side, what can we do? We can expose them, and from a governmental side, we can suggest indictments and push them in the right direction to be held accountable.
Very good, very good. And you mentioned the military. Now, when Trump was not in office for 4 years, the military enlistment, people going into the military was at an all-time low. They couldn't find people. They were in a huge deficit. But when Trump was going to come in office, then that turned around, and now we have probably one of the highest enlistment rates in the history of the military. Now, I think that's going to happen in a lot of different ways in California. When you have someone that people can trust and believe in, like yourself, I think that you're going to get great law enforcement, like we talked about, great people in the fire department. I I had a guy on my show that was like destroyed because he was, I guess they used his fire department. He was a fire department chief to do voting, and he saw that through his camera system they were doing illegal voting, and he was pointing that out, and they destroyed him, and he had to leave the state. So you'll probably get really good people in California, and all the wealthy people like Elon Musk, Zuckerberg is leaving California now. You're going to have them come back and probably come back in big numbers. So that's going to boost California again. It's going to become like it used to be, one of the top engines for the economy in not just America, but the whole world. You could be leading that. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, when you get rid of the fake regulations, the regulations are purely to steal money and to hold people in a control mechanism. That alone is going to help a lot. Then when you reduce the budget by 75%, and you open up and you get rid of income tax, property tax, and maybe find a way to tweak or get rid of sales tax, businesses are going to flood into California. Now you're going to get the great businesses, and great people are going to come back. And when you say, "Hey, I want to make law enforcement the greatest law enforcement in the world," they're held accountable, but they're doing the right thing. You're going to get the best people in the world. We're the fourth largest economy. If we're run properly, let's be honest, and this is not arrogance, but everybody wants to be in California
Yeah,
if it's run properly. And so all we're going to do is we're going to reset California. I say we're going to bring back California's liberty intended, i.e., Cali, Cali, because that is going to put us in a position where we won't even have to work that hard from that standpoint because their businesses are going to flock in here. Now it's about negotiating the right contracts. What's best for we the people? Make sure we don't have monopolies in. Make sure we have a level playing field for a small business has the same opportunity as a large business. And to go back to what you kind of indicated in regards to farming and agriculture, we have an opportunity to make the California the best food on the planet by far. You have the climate to grow the best food on the planet. So, but it is the most poisonous stuff out there. So how do we do this? Well, as I am with screw big gov and small government, it's very hard for me to offer a subsidy. But when we have a surplus in money, which we will have very quickly, I will tell you where I am willing to do subsidies. I'm willing to incentivize farmers to make the cleanest food they possibly can because it's very hard for them because all the incentives goes into them using chemicals and production and so on and so forth. So if we can have the cleanest food with the most minerals from the soil that you possibly can, I am willing to subsidize that because nothing's better than a healthy California.
yeah,
That is an investment I'm willing to do. And it is, it's an investment in the health and well-being of California. By the way, if we're healthy and our well-being is up there and our pineal gland is clear, now you have the best inventors in California. You have the best forward thinkers in California. This is state is going to be golden once again to a level that nobody's seen before.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And so many different things out there. Wow, we could just talk about some. I have like a billion questions for you. This is great. Because you're crushing them. Now, big pharma. And the
They
doctors.
like me. They're my best friend.
Oh yeah, I bet. So uh there is during COVID, we got locked down, the whole country, the whole world got locked down. It happened. We were fooled. But some places uh, you know, un-effed themselves very, very quickly after it was discovered that this was a big fat lie.
Mm.
And that's one of the reasons why I went to Florida from California. I was tired of staying in the state that was continuously locking down. It was obvious to everyone that it was a big fat lie. And your governor kept everybody locked down. Now, you talked about, and I saw you in another event where you were talking about the corporations were involved in that. And that was a very, very insightful, discussion that you had about that. Give us a little bit of that about the corporations and how they locked it down, how you would never, ever let something like that happen again.
Yeah, so mandates, I think most people have figured out are illegal, but they're also unenforceable unless you have a corpocracy, a set of corporations that are willing to enforce it with you and for you. So to give you an idea, is is Joe Biden or Gavin Newsom can say everybody has to wear a mask. You all you have to do is not listen.
Yeah.
It's literally that easy.
Mhm.
But if you go into a business in on their private property and you don't wear a mask, they can legally bring in a sheriff to come in and arrest you. And if the sheriff's complicit in the agenda, then they could arrest you. And what happened is it was the corporations that were doing it. The corporations were threatening people. You can't have a job. We won't give you your bonuses. You won't be able to get your residual incomes. There's no travel. Bang, 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 bang. It was the corporations across the board. Think about where the enforcement came. The enforcement came from the hospitals. The
Yep.
enforcement came from private airlines, right? Well, they're public in regards to stocks, but they're still they're a company that's not a government run company,
Mhm.
right? All across the board this happened and it just completely locked us down. Now, my wife and I decided with our business, we weren't going to do that. We kept our business running. We didn't care. And none of our employees even wore masks because they were we enlightened them and they were like, okay. And I was in construction company, so the only time they would put on a mask is maybe if they were cutting something that the sawdust or the mason, cement could get in their face. But other than that, they understood oxygen was the best way. But corporations enforce this. We live in a corpocracy where without the corporations putting their thumb on the scale,
Mhm.
we wouldn't we wouldn't have any problems because there is no enforcement arm within inside the government. That's a myth in the United States. Now, there are inside of Great Britain and Canada and Australia. What do they have that we don't have? They have gun laws that completely suppress the people. We have the Second Amendment, and it will not be infringed. That really protects us against our own government.
Yeah. And it did because they kept pushing the vaccination to the point where they were making statements like they're going to start to come into people's houses, and they're like, "Psst, you come in our house, you're not going to walk out again. Uh,
Not going to happen.
and
Right.
you're going to leave in a body bag." So and it stopped. It stopped at that point once people started saying that. So I think it's very important that we, the people, are involved in our government. Our government has been riding over the top of us and controlling us and manipulating us and so forth. It sounds like your government there in California, under your leadership, would give a lot of people the ability to create, like you're talking about, that pineal gland with good food and everything, wide open, and no agencies coming in and saying, Oh no, that's an environmental problem. Yeah, that's not going to work out. So all of that BS is probably going to go away. Your oil companies there in California are leaving in droves, even sacrificing $1 billion to like get out of California. That's unbelievable. What company ever has done that? Only in California. So yeah, the regulations have destroyed California. How would you take those regulations down, and would you like end some of those organizations?
Yeah, well, any regulations that were signed off by the governor, a lot of them that, especially if they're executive orders, I can retract. So a lot of those, and we do. So the governor doesn't have as much power as people think, but they do have a lot of power. So we have budgetary power in many respects. So I can hold money away from certain entities if they don't want to do what we want to do. People are most concerned, and legitimately, is Lewis, how are you going to perform under a supermajority in the legislature? That's their biggest concern, and that's a legitimate concern. Where there's fraud, it vitiates everything. There's election fraud across the board in California for several decades. We have the evidence. The evidence is going to be processed. And in my opinion, what's going to happen is the people that were put into office under a fraudulent election, whether their fault or not, they will be removed. There will be a special election and we will completely reset the legislature. And therefore, we will have some people on our side to actually put through the proper laws and, most importantly, retract 80% of the madness that we see right now. And retracting it is what's most important. And you know where I'm going to get the most fight on the retraction is from the bar, because they understand that retracting a lot of these laws are probably going to put some of their attorneys out of business. But I don't care. We're not going to prop up any one industry to do the wrong thing. Attorneys, go to another state or get retrained, right? In another position or another field, because we have to make California the best it can, and being stuck under constant lawfare is not going to do it.
Nice. Now the June 2nd primary is coming up, and tell us about your plans for that, how you make it past that point with the election fraud that we know is rampant in California. How are you going to overcome that?
Yeah, now it's not easy, and we're not going to pretend like it's easy. The money is the biggest challenge that we're having, is because these other guys are spending five, tens of millions of dollars to buy their way into office. And then we even have people talk to us, I mean, weekly. Lewis, you're my number one guy. I would 100% support you and tell everybody about you if you had a lot of money in the bank. Am I hearing this right?
I know.
I said, this is how we got here. So we're doing a good job at trying to change that paradigm. So we do need a lot of money. If we, the people, really want to make a difference, we, the people, need to participate. You can participate from anywhere in the world, but we're making a huge, huge push right now, and it's very, very exciting. But the way we're going to permeate this is very simple. We have something that Bianco and Hilton or anybody else doesn't have. We appeal to voters that didn't vote in the 2022 election. They were eligible to vote in that gubernatorial election, but they did not. That's 67% of the voting population. So all we need, Mike, is 5% of those to come out, and that's a million of our votes right there.
Hmm.
5%. That's it. And that is who we're keen on. So the key for us is, and we, by the way, we're carving off a lot of Republicans and some Democrats too, because they're done with the system. They just want somebody to be honest with them. So we're doing well on those two sides as well. So we just need to get the word out, as many people to see us as possible, because when they see us, they convert over to us. And we're really making a huge push through right now in March to have conversations with the people that were eligible to vote in 2022, but they did not vote. And that's 67% of the voting population. We only need 5%. Imagine if we only got 10% of those to come out, we win.
Yeah. Wow. Man, this is you're getting down to the wire. So we know that the money is a I mean, GOP doesn't care. They got a lot of money, but they don't back the right candidates. I remember we thought Megaphone Marine was going to like blow it up, and they under underscored him and took the money and gave it to the guy had never won before. And that's on purpose, I believe, so that the GOP never wins any of these contests to a certain extent. Why does the GOP do that? And I completely understand why, and I'm glad you did, because you're not beholden to them. You're basically no party.
No. Yeah, no party. So, I always say George Washington, John Adams, James Madison, they knew that the two-party system would be the death of America. And Thomas Jefferson pretty much said that I'm not going to go to heaven if I have to pick one of two parties. It's not going to happen, right? Because and anybody that has understands psyops and studied it like I have, I mean, all the way back to Plato, right? They understood the control of a divisive message is perfect for what a deep state swamp needs. They need you to just look at two parties while they're manipulating in the background. That being said, I'll talk about the California GOP, which everybody's afraid to talk about. My opinion, they don't want to win because
No.
what happens if they did win, number one, they'd be accountable for results, and they don't make as much money having winners as they do when they're whining about the other side and continuing to be losers. If we only had more money, we'd win this time. Well, they've been saying that for 50 years, and they're going to continue to say that because that's what raises money for them. So, in my opinion, they're extraordinarily corrupt. And this is why I said the Democrats that we know of today are the snake at your doorstep, and the California GOP is the snake inside your bed. They pretend to be your friend, and they're going to bite you in the ass. And they do every single time. So we have to get out of that thought process. And part of what we're doing is an education system. And I'm getting a lot of Republicans to understand. They're like, you know what, Lewis, you're making a lot of sense. And why, Mike, why do we even need a party?
Yeah, we
I,
don't.
I don't get it. Vote for somebody that has the policies that you want. Why would you want to vote for a party of all things? Vote for somebody that has the policies. I know I'm more conservative than most, if not all of the Republicans that are running. So it has zero to do with being Republican. It has to do with my policy set, and what's best for the people is what matters. And that's all that matters. What's your character, your policy set? What's the fruits of your labor?
Yeah,
Let's go, right? But that's in my opinion, that's not what the CAGOP is looking for. They're looking for a loser. And the more losers that they can put up, the more money that they can raise. It sounds counterintuitive, but it's not. That's just the way it works.
yeah. So you've had ICE, and I'm sure ICE is still there in California, trying to get illegal aliens out of the country. I did a show yesterday where I talked about this. There's illegal aliens on the streets living in California. I think you've talked about it too, where they were underneath bridges and they went in, we're going to clean up. And so they pushed them out from under the bridges and they hit the streets. Now they're living in the streets, unprotected. No, now they got the elements to, hammer on them. So there is a way to overcome this. I think California, with billions of dollars has gone missing that was supposed to go to, homeless. I think a lot of that money could be utilized to help people that are on the streets, but also a lot of these people they brought in, I guess as replacements for us and maybe for voting, they are a problem too, and they want to get. I think they want to leave the country. We just need to help them. So
Yeah, well, there's a big myth on illegal immigration and how it's being handled through the Trump administration right now. And I've reached my level of frustration with this. So, under Clinton, he deported 10 million illegals.
wow.
Obama deported 5 million illegals. President Trump, I think right now is right over 1.3 million.
Yeah.
Not even close to what those two administrations done. The difference is the propaganda that has gone along with. And I'd have
Mhm.
to ask the people, and I really want them to think about this. And by the way, I'm very vocal that I think the President Trump's administration is doing a good job, but they're very poor at the messaging in regards to this. And I said, if I would do the messaging, this is exactly something I would do just because of what happened last week. I'd say, for some reason, there are people that are being paid that are getting the information of where ICE is before ICE gets there. They're obstructing us from arresting rapists and murderers. And that's more important than the 3,364 missing children that we just saved in the state of Minnesota.
Right.
That's messaging. It's very powerful. And when people hear that, they're people, even normies or people that are leaning against ICE, are going to go, wait a second. And then you ask them, so are you saying that it's more important to protect a rapist, a murderer, an abuser than save 3,000 children? Is that what you're saying? That alone is going to people, at least it's going to get the fervor down. They're going to step back. They may not come on Trump's side, but then maybe they'll just back off and not go to these protests and say, yeah, so this is not good, right?
Mhm.
Because, but the messaging, honestly, is horrible from the Trump administration, in my opinion. And people may say, oh, it's part of the plan. We needed to get to here or there, whatever it is. I'm just kind of looking at it for what it looks like to everybody. And I think the messaging can be a lot better in regards to that alone.
Yeah, most definitely. And so, the messaging is very important. Your messaging has been working for you. Uh, let's say we move beyond the June 2nd. You're elected. Now, how many people can be elected and move forward on
Two,
June 2nd?
two. It
Just
can
two.
be, yeah, in the primary. So it could be two Democrats, two Republicans, two independents, any mix thereof. It's just the two top vote getters, right? I've never been one to push for second place. I'd prefer not a silver medal. I always want the gold medal. I don't like second place trophies.
Sure.
This is one second place I'll accept because it would just get us into the general election. And I truly believe we in the general election, our campaign will win because it's you can ignore people in a primary election. You can't ignore them when they're in a general election, no matter how hard they try.
Yeah, I mean, the messaging on your part is not an issue. The issue is getting it out in front of people. So shows like mine, it's a little tiny tidbit of a show. It does help, of course,
Mhm.
and it gets shared. It'll get shared quite a bit because your messaging now is really phenomenal. But how do you get in front of, I know, because you talked about the incredible suppression on you right now. That should be a big, well, of course we got to vote for this candidate because they're obviously, they don't want him to win because he's going to change everything that's foul and disgusting about California. So how do you get to the point where you get your messaging out there in front of people?
Well, the good news for us is we have a keen understanding of the way the media psyop works. I mean, great example is you have Fox News has spent 2 weeks talking about Savannah Guthrie's mom while 3,300 kids were rescued in Minnesota and they barely spoke a word of that. So we understand what the game is and the manipulation of it. We're very keen now on Wikipedia, the way Wikipedia has suppressed us, kicked us off their platform, and what they will and won't do. And here's the game. So we asked the news media, why aren't you saying anything about us? Well, you're not on Wikipedia. Oh, okay. Wikipedia, what's going on? Sorry, we can't have you on here. They kick us off completely, right? So there's a game, but we understand the game very, very keenly. So we created a beautiful marketing plan over the last few days of how to circumvent all this media and get in front of people and how to win this election. And it's very comprehensive, but the price is heavy. It's like $3.7 million for us to get in front of the narrative of the media, and there's ways that we can circumvent it and get around it. It's a very powerful marketing plan. It's got some guerrilla marketing in there. It's just I'm very, very proud of it. But it does take money right now, and that's what we're looking at. So there's PACs out there that I'm sure are willing to support us or push forward our narrative so people can work with them directly also. So that's really what it comes down to right now. And it sucks. But volunteers are also very, very helpful because we have ways that volunteers can work anywhere in the world and make a difference. And our volunteers right now are doing phenomenal work. I think we're up over 200 already.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. And hermsforcali.com. Definitely need to get your donations in there, like Lewis is talking about. It does make a difference. And, you know, I don't know if we're going to hit that, multi-million dollar mark that some of these bigwigs think you got to have before they get involved. But uh, I think this, we showed this earlier. I think this right here should get them off the couch. All right, and have them like pulling out the wallet. So here you are, right there at the top. When your message gets in front of people, the people that saw your messaging were like voted for you. I mean, look at that. The top two, 25%. The next one is not even halfway there. And you got Steve Hilton, who has all of Fox News, that you think that he would be up there, but obviously his messaging isn't as strong as yours. And Chad Bianco, not even he's not even anywhere near. And everybody was thinking that he was going to be, one of the top contenders. But he hasn't been involved in the some of the debates, has he?
No, he seems to disappear when a debate comes up. I have one that is will be in front of him within the next 2 days. We'll see where that goes. And even I can tell you, Hilton's frustrated with him that he's dodging these debates. So that should tell people a lot. And if anybody here is voting for Chad Bianco, I I get it. Maybe if you think it's what you're supposed to do, but you should say, do you not want your candidate to be on debates? Do you really want somebody that's running the greatest state in the country and the fourth largest economy in the world to be dodging and running away from something because it may be hard? Is that what you're looking for? Do you really think that's going to make California successful? I don't think so. I think you need somebody with a lot of courage in there to be able to take on the hardest questions and the hardest problems head first and get them done. I don't think that dude's it.
Yeah, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And so what other things did you want to bring up that people can look at as far as your solutions and so forth? I mean, you got a lot of them here. We've talked about several of them. The divided and conquered. This is definitely. I think once Californians see that you're going to bring this for everybody, and uh, you're not GOP, you're not Democrat, you're not independent. You're just a what all campaigns should be like. You're just a dude that's coming up and getting and bringing in good messaging, and people are liking it. That's the way the campaign should go across the country in the future. And we should do away with politics as we know it right now. But in the meantime, we have to get somebody like you in office that you have a great example. So yeah, divided and conquered. I don't think we're going to be divided and conquered once we start getting candidates like yourself in there. Now, energy. This is one that I want to talk to you about. The energy costs are pretty ridiculous in California. In fact, it's like I was just traveling and I was just going to the casino for Valentine's Day, and the California gas prices are $1.50 more than in Nevada. So it's like that's got to change, but it's probably not going to change. You got all of these oil companies that are leaving. What are your thoughts on utility and energy costs getting them down?
Yes. So the waste, the abuse, the redundancy, the fraud are generally based on excuses, like we're doing this for environmental reasons. So the restrictions in California environmentally on gasoline are so heavy and so ridiculous that a California company or somebody shipping in or out will use a separate truck inside the state of California, and then right when they get to the border, it better for them to offload everything onto a truck that is regulated for, they're not regulated for other states. That's how heavy the burden and how ridiculous the burdens of California are. So they play this game in regards to the taxes on the gas. So it's always another, let's put 10 cents here, 17 cents here, 40 cents here, $1.20 there, right? So the actual cost of the gas could be probably about $2. But the reality is when you put all these other things, and what we have to know, and this is where some of the oil companies are complicit, when you run a business, generally you mark up based on a percentage, and I'll show you why that matters. So if there's a $3 tax on something, and you're gonna mark up your cost of the gas 20% and your cost of that $3 20%. So that adds an extra 60 cents on that $3 tax because people have the companies running things. It's not just a pass through, and it never is a pass through because they have to protect themselves because they have to take the time to do the paperwork, pay these bills, so on and so forth. Now, it would be nice if they just do a pass through, but we can't really blame it on the companies and the corporations because this is a game that's played from the legislative side in order to burden us as much as possible. So we're going to get rid of all the fake regulations. We're going to incentivize oil companies to get back in here and start drilling while we are moving to a clean option. What? A conservative with a clean option? I'm really scared to hear that. No, I get it. It's not windmills. We're not talking lithium batteries. In fact, we're talking about a couple options. One may be SMR technology, which is small modular reactors that are in boxes that are put underground, not completely safe for everybody, attached to your current grid while you're rebuilding your grid. That alone will reduce your cost by about 50%. That alone, your energy costs. And then in addition to that, one of my favorite things that I've investigated, and we're really diving deep into this, is we can actually put a plant right at every landfill that takes the landfill and reproduces it into energy at a 97.5% rate and can represent a higher level of fertilizer that's actually cleaner than what we have now out of that same plant. That will reduce the cost another 50%. So there's technologies out there right now that we can attach to our current electrical grid while we're eventually moving to where we need to be. And this is the dirty secret nobody wants to talk about. And that's 0 point energy.
Yeah.
Because when we end up giving people 0 point energy, now they are autonomous and sovereign from the government. This is why the government doesn't want you to know about 0 point energy because this is how they keep their tentacles attached to you. There's a control mechanism there. Imagine if every house was able to draw energy in and power their own house from their own house.
Mm,
They're done. Same with their own water. Same with any gas that they would have. They're off the grid completely. The government can't have you off the grid because they lose complete control.
right.
And we need to be pushing for that. So it's going to take 20, 30 years to get to that point. But on our way there, there are absolutely clean, usable energy that, can you imagine? We put this unit at these landfills. You know what we can also put in there? Old lithium batteries. Boom. 97%, 97.5% they can use the lithium batteries. Windmills. Chop the windmills up in little pieces and put them there. It's already been tested.
Wow. That's incredible. No, I had a guy on that talked about wild horses basically helping to abate the wildfire problem. But he also said that one of the reasons why California burns and the rest, well, not just California, but many states now, is because it's big money. So
Oh yeah.
all these people, all these fire crews, it's big business. That's why they're not trying to abate it. And of course, you and I have talked about chemtrailing for years, decades actually, and now people are becoming more aware of it. But this constant chemtrailing, you had a good idea of, like sending up National Guard, planes or jets or whatever, to bring them down to the ground, and whoever's spraying, they get arrested. A lot of those some of those sprays, I think, they're drones. So you're not going to arrest anybody. You're not going to force them down unless you blow
No,
them out
you
of the
take
sky.
them out.
Yeah, yeah. But you're gonna have to take them out somewhere where it's not gonna, like, come down on populated areas. So that I think is a great option. That needs to happen. And we're I don't know. You might be getting rain already, but we're supposed to get snow up here in the mountains. Another, major winter storm, and then a little break, and then another major winter storm. So back to back, winter storms, which is going to put a lot of water into those reservoirs, and a lot of water is going to go into the rivers and just go right out to sea.
That's
Now,
right.
you've talked about dams and so forth. What are your thoughts on that?
So I'm working with a guy now. We're putting together a team, and this is just one thing.
Yeah,
This is one of many. But first, we can build some of the dams up to 18 to 20 feet higher than they are now. We can rebuild some of the walls.
gotcha.
Currently, the infrastructure right now, we can add a section around one dam in Northern California and something else we're looking at Central California. We can do that right now. Start rebuilding these things. That's the good news. In addition to that, though, we can go a whole nother level. We can build. There's a project that I'm looking at that we're having engineered, and this the guy that brought it to my attention is an absolute genius. Where we can actually end up building the largest lake in the world near Tajon Ranch area, where the water flows off the mountains directly, rivers flow directly into this, and it could be an amazing paradise for people to live at while it's holding more water than any place in the world, bigger than Three Gorges Dam,
Wow.
right? By the way, you know that Three Gorges Dam supposedly stopped the Earth rotating, if you believe it's round, to at about an eighth of a second, right? This would be on the opposite side of the world, and it may fix that if that is true.
Wow.
But the most important thing about this, and I think it's huge, is we can capture all that water. And then I came up with an idea, and I talked to the one of the guys engineering this, the main guy, and I said, he's because his biggest concern was getting it paid for. And I go, that should be your biggest concern, of course. I said, but based on what we're talking about, we don't need the Colorado River anymore. Is that true? He goes, no, we wouldn't have to use the Colorado River whatsoever. I
Wow.
go, I go, and who uses the Colorado River? He's like, well, Mexico, Arizona, and Nevada. I go, absolutely. There you go. He goes, what do you mean? I go, they're going to do anything for them to get more water accessible from the Colorado River because we take most of it off the top. Have them help subsidize our build in California. And that's the way President Trump works. So that's my line of thinking, right? We
Right.
can help them subsidize this amazing project with inside of our home state. Why? Because it helps them and it helps us at the same time.
Wow. Great, great ideas. And you have a whole list. So uh, unbelievable, ideas. There's not enough time to go through all of them, but I've seen you take questions, and you do really well with questions. So that's amazing. Um, so anything else you'd like to share before we sign off? Of course,
No, I
Herms for
appreciate
Cali.
yep, hermsforcali.com. Appreciate you tremendously. Love for you to come visit out here. Just hop over the lake. Maybe just, I know you of all people could probably just swim it. So you just swim over to the other side
Uh,
and come visit us. And anytime I can come back on your show, maybe we can do a part 2 or 3 because we have a lot more to talk about.
Oh, very good. Yeah, yeah. We'll stay in touch, and hopefully I can make this more your events. Your events are fantastic, and seeing you on stage and just crushing all the comments is like it's music to my ears. So, and a feast for my eyes, because I see that a lot of the people that are up there don't even come close to your ideas, and if they do, they listen to your ideas and they're stealing your information, like you said. But the truth really comes out eventually. I wish you all the luck. I think you're going to win it. If you don't, then I don't know what's going to happen in California. Oh, it's like,
Yep, we'll see. I think we're going to do well.
yeah, good. Yep, we'll stay positive. We'll support you any chance and every way we can, and I hope everyone else that's listening to this, shares it far and wide. It needs to get out there. It's a no-brainer that you should be the next governor of California, and we look forward to making that happen. All right, Lewis, thanks so much.
Thank you. Appreciate you.